All right, here we are today. We're making fig pops, and I just wanted to share with you and talk about some things when doing this. I make it up in this. What is this? This is a 20-quart container. I use HP Pro Mix because I can take this gallon jug of water, and that's about exactly what it takes to get the right consistency almost every time. So I've kind of narrowed it down to getting that part so that it's right every time. And you can see there's no, you're not going to squeeze no water out of it, but yet I can make a ball with it. So it's good and moist. It's kind of like you want it to feel cold, but you don't want to be able to wring the water out of it, so to speak. All right, so that's one thing. Number two thing, you're going to want to get you a piece of this. I use a 4 by 16-inch bag so that, and I about half fill them like that. Because I want them to, this is one I just recently done. Kind of be like that. The tops of these, you can see, have been waxed. And this is the ones I'd done earlier. I just used the bags I had. The bags were shorter, but these have been about 4 weeks. You can still see the dampness, the humidity in that bag. I'll probably leave these another week to 10 days upstairs in the loft. And they don't really get no direct light at all. They get a little bit of overhead light through the window, but it's a north-facing window, so it doesn't really get that much light through it. So it just got the overhead light, and when we turn a light on to go upstairs, that's it. And I generally leave them in that situation for 4, 5 weeks until they get good and rooted like that right there. But I kind of want to get the whole box of them fairly even, and they're pretty close. This one's probably about average what they look like. There's a few more up there that they still need another week. So I'll just leave them all up there. That one there's got the most growth on it as any of them. Most of them are just pushing bud, but got lots of root. So now I'm going to tell you something else that's really important. I don't think gets talked enough about when watering this in. And when you water this in, you absolutely, this is imperative that you use a fungicide or a larvicide to control, it will kill all the fungus gnats. I'm using Pro Mix HP, so it doesn't come standard with fungus gnat larvae. So I just need to keep them out. So by bagging it like this, that lets them get a good root. And then of course I always water them in with this, and then when I get them potted up and they come over here to where I have these at, I still pot those up with Pro Mix, and I only water them. Every time they are watered with a larvicide. It's very important in the early stages of this tree. I can't stress enough that until your tree is ready to up pot out of that size right there, you should always, always, always water with a fungus gnat larvicide in your water. I use this on my little stuff, but now once they get up bigger like that, I switch over, and you can use this as well. Both products come with instructions, or you might find them at a store somewhere that looks something like that. And you can see they're not expensive. So and I'm not advertising for nobody. I'm just showing you what I'm using and how I'm doing it. If you don't use a larvicide, you're playing with fire. Because if you get fungus gnat larvae in your fig cuttings, they're dead. That's all there is to it. They're going to eat the roots off of them and they're going to rot. 90% of people's cutting failures is going to be fungus gnat larvae or mold. It's not the faultiness of the cutting at all. It's usually one of those two things. You didn't properly wash your cutting, or you didn't use a larvicide. So now that I've gotten over my larvicide rant, this is just that 4-inch by 16-inch bag. Whoops, I dropped it. I like this 2-inch. Now, you can use an 1.5 inch. It goes in there easier. But they're a little harder to feel. I'll try to add some footage here of what it's like to use an 1.5 inch. They're just, the 2-inch works better. It's a lot bigger. You can get it in there. It might take you an extra minute, but it's just that easy. And you don't have to. I sit in here and do this and watch television with the kids while I'm filling them. It's, it's not hard to do. I can kind of pay attention to what I'm doing and listen to what they're watching. At least I know they're not watching garbage. That's pretty close. I'm going to push it down. I'm only looking for like 8. These are 16-inch bags, so I want 8 to 9 inches of soil. It needs a little bit more, not quite 8. I've probably done some with 7. That's just fine too. You want to push a lot of that air down and tighten them up, because you can see it's still, you'll have to work them down a little bit. There, that's pretty close. And then I just make up a bunch of these, and then I prep my cuttings and stick them in there. So that's how I make those up. Okay, now we're going to wash some cuttings. This is the way I do it. I've already got all my cuttings here, all labeled. This is a 52 quart container, and it's about, we'll say it's about a quarter full, so it's got probably 2.5 gallons in it, and I put about a 1/4 cup of bleach and a 1/4 cup of peroxide in there, and we're just gonna pitch them in there. Well, I don't have to be that gentle about it. Well, you can just get real, put them in there. Like I didn't get quite enough water in here for all my cuttings, but that's okay, because we're gonna move them around here a little bit. And we'll get some of them out and put them over in the water here in a minute. I'm just gonna get them in here and let them soak for a few minutes. I could add a little more water to it. I think our mix is still plenty strong enough. Hadn't drained my water hose off, so it's gonna quit running here in a minute, because it's turned off. It was just full. That'll be enough. Oh yeah, that's better. Just needed a little bit. I like to leave them in here for a few minutes. You don't want to leave them in here for no hour, that's for sure. But I don't know, if you leave them in here for 3, 4, 5 minutes, kind of move them around. Largely, the only thing that's really much on my cuttings anyway is diatomaceous earth, where I powder the bottoms of my trees, and to try to keep the pests down. That's once they start fruiting, the best thing you can do is number one, don't water around the base of your in-ground tree. If you have that option, especially if you're in a greenhouse setting, and then put diatomaceous earth around it, and that keeps all the pests at bay, like roly-polies and ants and scale. They can't manage the diatomaceous earth. So all right, I'm satisfied with that. And these are my cuttings that come from here on the farm. These ain't cuttings I've bought. You know, people don't really send cuttings that size. What is that? That's a green Mitchkarinska. You have to give these big thick ones some time to root. I'm gonna fig pop them, but in bigger bags. And I'll also make that there a little. Ooh, look here. Need to get those off. Don't want to leave that in there. Rid of that. Let's go back over there and put that one back in there for a minute. I'm going to make sure you get all these little pieces like that off. You can see I kept some decent sized cuttings back, but I have a lot of cuttings, so. I put them over here for a little bit. I don't care. I'll root that, and I'll root that too. There's a lot of stuff you can root on these things. Yeah, just get some water on them. Probably could have used just a little more water in here too. Get that broke off there. Kind of let them hydrate. And that's how I wash cuttings. I'll just get them out and put them in a tray here. And let them dry. I got these vegetable trays that I get. Got a little dust on it, but it ain't nothing's gonna hurt anything. And I just put them in here and let them drain. Pretty simple way of washing cuttings. Let them dry, let them get good and dry before I start sticking them. Which I'm gonna stick today, maybe about 200. So, but that's how I wash my cuttings. Thanks for watching. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how I do my cuttings. Or how I should say I'm doing them this year. I do all kinds of different experiments. And if you want to, this is about the best way to do it. I got some wax here. I'm just going to dip the tips. This is a beeswax that I just pitched over on the wood stove and melted. You can just get a candle warmer and do the same thing. But I think you want to, I think it's a good idea to put something on the tops of them at least that will help keep them from drying out. some people, in the past I've wrapped with parafilm, but sometimes they'll kind of sweat underneath that, it seems like, and I've had problems with some of them growing mold under them there. So, you know, if you're using beeswax, you're not going to have that problem because the properties of the beeswax will help deter that. So, this will help preserve the tip of your cutting. It don't take long to do, as you can see. I just cover the top bud. That's enough. And when it starts to push, it'll break that right off and push right through it. Might ought to have something to lay these on. This is just my work table, so I'll have to clean it up when I get done, but you could lay a piece of paper down here. Just, you know, real simple. Doesn't take much. And it dries fairly quick. That's already dry that's the first one. So it dries pretty quick. All right. So I've got my Clonex here. Looks like we're about out. I'm going to, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to save this Clonex for all these little tips I got laying up here. I'm not going to stick them in that because they're going to go, actually, yes, and I'm not going to wrap them because I wrapped those other ones. So I am going to stick all of these. Matter of fact, let's just do that real quick. These are all going to go in the little root wrap pellets. These here. I'm going to go ahead and got that one dipped. These are just pieces that I cut off. To me, there's no point in wasting them. I mean, they will root. As you seen earlier, I showed you some. This is how you get them. Right here. Kind of go through here and dip them. I'll show you my wax here in a minute. Here's the wax I'm using. All right, we got them all dipped. Oh, wait a minute, we missed one. Got one more here. This is a little trial. We're going to try to root that little thing. It'll root, no problem. All right. We got everything done. I'm also going to show you something here. I got something over here saved back. You want to cut little stuff like that off. Little ends like that, cut them off. Sometimes it's okay. Go ahead and freshen up the end. But now if you see one that's got something like that, or a spot like that, cut that stuff out. Don't leave no brown in there and don't seal it in like that. Cut all that stuff out. All right, so now we're ready to just put these in some soil here. 2, 1. All right, now we're gonna stick some cuttings here. I'll show you what I do. And I was talking earlier, I said I generally use this for rooting. We're going to use this today on the little ones, but I also use this stuff here. It has the same amount of bithyremic acid in it. They both are about the exact same as far as the numbers go. And it's just a a white powder. You can see where I've already dipped some of these in there. And I just kind of stick them in there and get that bottom node covered and tap them off like that. That's all I do to them. Set this over here. And then on these, it's pretty simple. I've already made these up. They're made out of the HP Pro like I was telling you earlier. And I'll show you real quick how I fill them here. I have this pipe, and I just stick it in there like that, and I just take my soil, tap it down in there like that, and it falls right down in there. Real easy. Just an 1.5 inch piece of PVC pipe. But then just real simple. Select your cutting. And push her down in there good. Notice I got plenty of extra bag. We're going to leave that open at the top like that. Now, you could either put tape around that blue tape, or you could use a zip tie like I'm doing here. And then you just take a pair of fingernail cutters and clip it off when you're ready to pot it, and make sure that you don't forget you need to put the label on it. And all right, there it is. Quick and easy fig pops. And everything's sterile. And then I'll put them back in here. I'll take this, set it right down in here, like so. And there you go. Pretty simple. You don't really even have to put the tops back on it. You can just set it in there like that and be done with it. I just had the top on it because I've been waiting. I wanted to make sure I held all the moisture. But when you do it like that right there, that's going to more than keep that good and moist. So, and then that'll let excess then out. So, that's how I do it. There's my fig pop method. I've also got something else I want to show you real quick that I found that I'm going to be trying here.